Dan, winner of the week.
All right, my winner, I've kind of probably previewed this a little bit. Gavin Newsom. I think that and there's, I think, a Politico or Axios someone has that he fired or brought in a whole new communications team that is much more nimble. And he is doing a lot of the things that Trump did to delight the base of our party. And you got to win the primary to get to the general.
Yeah.
And I think he's making some headway.
Dan, can I ask you a quick question based on that? I have an old saying. I like to say that there are friends and roommates. There are people that you are friends with that you would never want to live with, and there are people that you live with that you probably aren't going to be friends with. And I say that with respect to employers, because there are people that you like to deal with, but you would never want to work with. I get the impression that there's a lot of people who say, I don't want to work with Gavin Newsom. He's a tough guy. He's erratic. Do you get that sense? You brought up the new team.
I don't know. I think that Newsom is impressing people. I still think he's got problems in a general election.
No. But it's like the staff issue with Kamala.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because to me, that's going to be something to watch, right? Meaning,
that's a good
I wonder if you burn through staff on a presidential. All right, my winner of the week is the American taxpayer. For the first month last year, we had a budget surplus in the almost decade, the first time ever, and it's the tariffs that are doing it. The tariffs that we were told. Okay, I'm boring, Mark. But so and then we passed a rescission package. I am a big believer in the impact of the debt and the deficit. And for the first time to see Washington, again, is it the biggest thing? No. But when your kid is learning to play ball, you say, just get a hit. Like, it doesn't matter. Maybe it was a foul ball. But they're at least hitting the ball in the forward part of the field. I like this. I think this is a model. We need more revenue, less focus on taxes, get the government size of government down. So to me, the American taxpayer is the winner this week.
Raise your hand if you want to get in on the conversation, please. Sean, how do you pronounce the last name of the OMB chair?
Vought.
The winner of the week is Russ Vought. People pay attention to the power of Stephen Miller. When Musk was in the government, they paid attention to the power of Musk. Russell Vought is so powerful, and his vision about the Fed and about spending and about Doge, this guy is making history and had an incredible week getting this rescission package through, taking the spending prerogative away from an ostensible co-equal branch. He is the architect of this, and incredible success.
And by the way, he said we're going to do another one, which pissed off John Thune to no end.
Yes.
I'll also just flag he did help write Project 2025 that everyone said was not it, and they're going through it page by page.
Dan, loser.
My loser a little bit here is one Donald J. Trump. He couldn't shake the Epstein thing. I still don't think he has. And I think under the radar, and this was talked about a little bit on the group chat yesterday, the looming showdown on immigration that is boiling up within the party. I noticed Carolyn Levitt yesterday dodged the, I forget the bill that has been introduced in the House that 10 Republicans have already signed on to. Doesn't give a pathway to citizenship, but it allows a lot of these people to stay here and continue to work. She punted on it. She would not say no. And so I think Trump's got some more problems coming down the pike.
Sean, loser of the week.
So I have to fit this in before I get to my real loser, but the loser is people in the Biden administration that wouldn't talk about his health, because yesterday we saw what real transparency looks like. I give the White House a ton of credit, how they handled. And by the way, the headline this morning out of NBC, both Craig Melvin and then the Ryan Nobles, the correspondent, said the White House, unprompted, without excuse, came out with it's like, dude, just because you got used to covering for Biden, you shouldn't be blown away by the fact that this White House was transparent about his medical records and didn't even have to be asked.
Sean, I could not agree with you more, Sean.
Same here.
I know. So I know I had to jam that in somewhere. My loser of the week is CEOs. If you didn't see the viral video yesterday of the CEO, but here's why I made it CEOs, because that individual had a very unfortunate incident on the Jumbotron. But then the corporate CEOs of NPR and PBS spent the last several days making a pitch to the media that they saw no bias in NPR and PBS and that any discussion thereof was unfounded. They made fools of themselves and their budgets were cut last night. Hooray for them.
Yeah. So mine's similar to that, which is the left's presumption that they can dominate asymmetrically, dominate the media. Stephen Colbert turned his show into a nightly anti-Trump program. NPR and PBS, as Caroline Levitt well documented, they're just attack machines for the Democrats, and they have lost their ability to have these asymmetrical advantages. huge loss for them, and a huge loss to the Democratic Party, which relied on these advantages as just millions
But
and
you know,
billions.
Mark, you're scrubbing at something that is, or scratching at something that is so profound, because I've argued for the longest time that Democrats have had a hold on all of these mega institutions, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. You got Colbert, NPR, PBS starting to fall, but then it's the alternative economy where Republicans have learned, okay, well, if you don't want to get debanked by Bank of America, build
Yeah.
your own bank. If you want a currency, go to crypto. And like they have, this is what happened with the media and the rise of talk radio and then podcasts. But the left, their domination of academia, Hollywood, corporate America is getting
100%.
chipped away because they jumped the shark on so many things.
100%. That's why I make them the loser. It's a paradigm shift, and they don't recognize what a crutch that's been for them. They really don't. Dan,
By the way, Emily Moffat, I'm reading in the chat because I do read it. If you just Google CEO Jumbotron.
Oh boy.
Someone watches the show that doesn't know that thing happened. That's
wow.
nuts.
Yeah, by the way, I was out to dinner last
50
night.
million views within
I was out to
24
dinner
hours.
last night, and two things that were fascinating. There were three generations of us together. Every single, from very young to rather old, and everyone talked about the same story at dinner. It was funny watching the different ends of the table discuss it. And at one point, someone at the table said, "Do you realize in my feed right now, 5 of, I think, the top 7 stories are about this Jumbotron CEO?"
Dan, what are you looking for this weekend?
True Social. I'm going to be curious if the president continues to try to kind of get MAGA back and pound away at the Journal. I'm also want to watch the parent company here. The last time that they really pissed off Trump, they started seeing an audience movement and snapped back to try to prevent that audience movement. What happens over the weekend and into next week?
Sean.
The White House schedule. As I noted earlier, the president is having, you noted earlier, but the president's having dinner, but it's here in Washington. He isn't at Bedminster. I got to believe that there's some event or thing that's going to happen over the weekend.
Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.